What has been the most interesting change in the tech and entrepreneurship ecosystem that would have maybe accelerate further growth when you guys were building?
Kwenye innovation kuna clause fulani kinasema kwamba ukibadilisha process by 60%, then you can claim it as an innovation. But by translating it into Kiswahili, already you're at 50%. Today, you can do everything you want to do. There's people in this room who actually built the internet. We physically built the internet that you stand on. Today, you're complaining kwamba 4G is not fast enough, you want 5G. Well, we used to dial up, it used to go, and then you connect to the internet, and then you wait 3 hours for 5-line email to come in. So have we made progress? We have made massive progress. Can we do better? Yes, we can do better. We need to coordinate ourselves and take advantage of this opportunity.
The startup and the business starting up, difference.
If you are doing something in an untested market and your business model is not proven and it has a potential to grow exponentially, then basically you are a startup.
But at the same time, there's a conversation around collaboration.
If you go to the facts, the amount of VC capital that is coming to Africa, and actually is coming in 4 African countries, and actually is just going in one sector, is less than 4% of the global VC fund that is going across the world right now. It's going to what we call the kings, Kenya, Nigeria, Ghana, and South Africa. And we are all fighting for that money because it looks cool to look innovative. The responsibility of a university is to operate as a 3rd-generation university. Incorporate innovation, technology, and entrepreneurship so that you can create a pipeline for me to support people who understand actually what it takes to build a business. If we talk about talents, start talent programs. Hakuna anayetuzuia tusianzishe our own Andela or Gebea to produce high-quality software engineer. A big round approach of what Grayson is doing with IPF to address gaps in engineers in Tanzania. And then some other people can think about smart financing, and hubs can do what they do better, which is to build capacity as well as accelerate growth of businesses.
What would you wish you get from the community so that you can actually serve your purpose well? But second, what reality do you see on ground that you believe Funguo and maybe other players who want to get into the investment environment can actually serve?
Jumanne has said quite a lot probably on the nature of the kind of startups we have and probably why we are so obsessed with the categorization, which I don't have a problem with. To me, as long as you deliver what you really want to deliver, it doesn't really matter what people call you or what you call yourself. I think the only people who matter are those who are buying your product. So if you are producing what the customers want and you are getting something in return, whether you're an SME or startup, I don't really care much. Second, as Jumanne said, I think, well, we copy quite a lot, which is fine as developing the world when we since we come after the worst, so we tend to copy their practices, we tend to copy their vocabulary. That's why even when we're talking about investment for the startups, you have to copy their lingua, angel investing, venture capital and everything. And that's why I think there has been quite a lot of talk about how can we design our own, again, allow me to use the word innovative financing mechanisms, which can be suitable for the kind of businesses that we have. Unfortunately, when programs get designed by development partners, they tend to be designed based on what they perceive as the problem they're going to address. And if they do not consult those who are intended to kind of benefit from those programs, in most cases they are going to miss some marks, right? And they get to be designed just to kind of respond to their questions. Unless you are working with a development partner who's willing to listen and adjust midway, most programs are going to be implemented. Of course, the KPIs are going to be ticked, but at the end of the day, we look like, okay, what actually did we do? Now, you talked about Fungo being about investment. I think the name was actually chosen purpose is Fungo is about unlocking, not actually filling the gap. Because Fungo cannot, being under an investment partner, it cannot provide, for instance, equity in the way it is designed, right? But you hear people who come to Tanzania, like, we are looking for where we can invest. And they're like, no, these startups probably do not meet what we are looking for. And you're like, okay, what do those startups need to be able to reach a level where they can probably be attractive to some other investors? So that's what it's trying to say. Can we do something, whether give you some kind of grant or whether it's going to be a software later on, so that it can actually take you from where you are to the point that you are attracted to a third-party investor.
What would the universities wish to understand or to get from the community to start with? Or that, what is the vision of universities in your understanding?
Coming back to what the universities are supposed to do is to provide knowledge, and that's what they do, to do research and the trainings. So it's all about how to fill the skill and the knowledge gap. We are in the confusion probably, but from this particular aspect, from the particular moment, is where maybe we shall come up with the solutions. The vision is we wish to have moved very fast, as what the previous said, but we have to accept that we are not moving forward fast as we are supposed to.
How many of your grandparents were farmers and worked independently? Put your hands up. How many of your grandparents, so majority of our grandparents as Africans, as Tanzanians, were farmers? How many of your parents went to formal school? Put your hands up. Put your hands down. How many of your parents worked for someone, or worked for a government, or worked for a company, or were employed and did not run their own business? Put your hands up. How many of you, after you finished school and doing whatever you did, worked for someone? Majority, minority. You have to change that thinking that naenda shule ili nipewe kazi. Tunaenda shule ili nitengeneze kazi yangu mwenyewe. We, the Dar es Salaamians, we need those people in the village to stay in the village. Tanzania should be comfortable enough for us to continue to want to live in Tanzania.
What is missing in the ecosystem or in the community as large?
There is no one who wants to be far away from home. Why can we not create smart villages whereby all services that they need? Why are we not innovating capsules that can do MRIs and everything, and all you do is take a lab technician to Ifakara or to Mikindani? You know, all the innovations we heard today, are they solving a Tanzanian problem? Really? Or is it solving a Tanzanian who is westernized problem? You understand? The solution that you're talking about in terms of delivery of food and what, it is for the 2%. Come up with a solution that solves the problem for 80% of our population, which also means 80% of Africa.
I wouldn't want us to reach a point where we kind of discount the kind of effort that others are actually making. Because at the end of the day, there are a lot of needs that we do have, right? And everybody innovates in a space where they actually feel passionate about, and there is a market that they're trying to address. I just want to give a funny example. I mean, he talked about sanitary pads and everything. I think actually this is a big problem, to be honest. It's a big problem. I don't remember the name of the organization. It was a humanitarian organization. So they went one time to visit a refugee camp. So they're like, yeah, there are a lot of people just coming, a lot of women, you know, they're going to suffer, they don't have sanitary pads, you know, they just imagining everything that can go wrong during the menstruation. So what they did, they just went there and they distributed sanitary pads to everyone. The following week, when they were they found all the sanitary pads just laid around. So they just used them for so many other things. So it's like, okay, we thought this was needed. Like, yeah. So they asked some of the women, like, why not using it? Like, okay, how can we use a sanitary pad when we don't even have panties? Well, I think this kind of feedback is very important for innovators and startups and everything. So that they can be, okay, maybe I'm addressing this particular section. Maybe there's another place that can actually make more impact and also make money in the process.
If you go to Mtwara, we put internet, laptops, solar panels. And that was an innovation, and it was a $50 million project. But I can tell you today, that was the worst use of that $50 million. You know why? Because when we went to those schools, Yasmin is my witness, watoto walikuwa wanalipishwa uji. And if they don't pay the 1,000 shillings, the teachers wouldn't let them into the school. So we paid uji for the whole year for those kids out of our own pockets. But remember, we put in $50 million worth of equipment. The strategy in the US changed. They went from technology to reading and writing. So now the laptops were replaced with books.
I'm among those who want to see Africans literally going to the moon. I'm preparing my young daughter to do better than Elon Musk, because there's just so many problems for all of us here to solve, for any one of us in this room to die poor. How you define impact is very, very different with what actually impact is. If you want to finance ED because it's doing Safari Wallet, and then you say, no, Safari Wallet is very sexy, you know, people are traveling, but it is employing 29 people in his company. Those people has kids, they have wives. Their community in rural areas survive because ED send money via mobile money to support them. We're in Iringa, we designed a project with Grand Challenge Canada. The project is about educating women around sexual reproductive health. We choose Kilolo and Iringa Urban. For years, Grand Challenge Canada, when they design their project, they don't incorporate technology, entrepreneurship, or innovation. They just want to teach sexual reproductive health. And then I asked that lady, for how long have you been teaching these women sexual reproductive health? How do you teach someone with 9 kids sexual reproductive health? Yeah? Just try to make me understand. Is there anything she doesn't know about sex? What unique value addition are you adding to her life? She has a small business. Can you enhance her small business? Because to her, she has reached a stage, sex is a product, it's a way of survival. You cannot continue teaching her about sex. You need to look for something more interesting. I don't want them to live here na ile mentality ya impact syndrome. Kwamba hii innovation yako impact iko wapi? Kama haina impact acha. No, that's a very wrong way of thinking about it. A kid in Silicon Valley right now, Palo Alto, hataulizwa mambo ya impact. Where is the impact taking picture using Instagram? That's a multi-billion business.
Every student outside there is thinking of going to University of Dar es Salaam. Actually, I'm a student of University of Dar es Salaam. But the thing, or the bad thing of it, I'll hand it in my head, but there is something which is not going right. And we, Tanzanians, we students, we think to be University of Dar es Salaam the best place to be. While, for other people got exposure, we think that University of Dar es Salaam is killing other people's ideas.
The problem with universities right now in Tanzania, most of them, they're still stuck in the second generation university, where they feel university's role is only 2 things, just academic and research. They don't have time with tech transfer. They don't have time with research commercialization. They don't have time with innovation. They don't have time with entrepreneurship. They don't have time to bridge the gap between the industry and the university.
Ecosystem, startups, what are you doing to give to the university? And what you are taking from the university? That's the big question.
We are not trying to show kwamba universities zina matatizo au ni mbaya au nini. It's a phase. Most of the African universities are still in the second generation phase, which is just academic and research. And even worse, kuna universities Tanzania right now zipo kwenye first generation phase of university, where academicians feel they are masters and they own knowledge, they own everything, na bado wanazungumza proudly, naweza nikakamata mabasi hata matatu. That's their mentality. So if this guy wa kukamata mabasi matatu na unategemea afanye tech transfer na research commercialization, you are dead.
Why don't we have successful homegrown products or startups that we can say we are proud of this?
We need to define what is success when it comes to African startups. we cannot put our standard by Silicon Valley success of what a startup is. It's a very wrong way to look at things. Do you know there's a company that was in this room that currently every year is paying the government 500 million Tanzanian shillings in revenue, in taxes? The number of employment that DTBI and Buni has contributed is more than 30,000. Do you know that? Direct and indirect. If you take a sample case of just 3 years of people who have graduated to Buni, they've employed more than 300 people in their businesses. You can use a case study of me, study too.
Let's complain less, compliment more. Let's give and take.
To startups, change your metrics. Success can be so different. If you're working with Medipack right now, which is one of the successful startups I know, they are doing really good. Why not going to talk to Nakiete Pharmacies, who has built one of the strongest brand ya pharmacy value chain, instead ya kukimbizana na angel investors na nini? Mwambie Nakiete, your core business is medicine and selling the drugs. My core business is technology. Let's form a strategic partnership. GSM ana the biggest network, anauza kila kitu kasoro watu tu. Talk to him. Mwambie, I don't have warehouses, you have the product, I have the technology. Let's form strategic partnership. This mindset of you have to get money from an angel investor and a VC is killing Africa.
As a nation, what we are missing out is the right national business strategy that we are supposed to adapt.
What Tanzania needs now is doers.
The same way we expect too much from hubs, we also expect too much from the universities, because they are led by lecturers who have gone through the same system.
Her school was built to create someone who sits down and listen. That's what the second generation did.
And you expect them to teach according to the third generation university, where nobody has ever exposed them to.
And those are the people that you want to go and transform the world, not to discredit.
But we also have to support them to be able to get out of that kind of catch-22, that's what we say.
The paradigm has shifted.
And let us learn from the chaos that we have created and find out the solutions.
My takeaway from this is, let's stop talking, let's start doing.
I'm so thankful kwamba kila aliyekaa hapa ni watu ambao tunamawasiliana nao. This conversation today has been very interesting, a lot of new things for me.